Hey guys, so this video that I'm about to make is a little bit different than what I normally share. And I've been struggling with sharing this, but it's been on my mind lately. And today being the 1st of April, I think it's only right to share my story. But before I share my story, I just wanted to say a Bible scripture. So, the scripture is Psalms 82, 3 and 4. And it says, "Give justice to the weak and the fatherless. Maintain the right of the afflicted and the destitute. Rescue the weak and the needy. Deliver them from the hand of the wicked." And this devotion that I'll be sharing today is Breaking the Silence, a call to action against sexual assault. So today I gather to address a critical issue that affects us all, or one way, shape, or another, which is sexual assault. This is a difficult topic, but one that requires our attention, compassion, and action. April is known as Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and sexual assault is a grave injustice that violates the dignity and autonomy of individuals. And it's a crime, and it has long-lasting physical, emotional, and psychological effects on survivors, right? So as people of faith, we are called to stand with the vulnerable and the marginalized. We are called to speak out against injustice and to walk towards creating a safe space for others in a society that values and respects the dignity of all individuals, right? So what can we do? Well, the first thing is we can listen and we can believe their story. When someone shares their story of sexual assault, it's important to listen with compassion and to believe them. Avoid making assumptions or asking questions that might be perceived as accusatory. In 2006, this experience happened to me. I was a freshman in college, and I experienced a sexual assault on campus as a freshman. And because of this, it turned my life upside down in many ways, as I failed 3 out of my 5 classes as a freshman, and I got academically dismissed because I didn't go to my classes on campus. And when I would tell other people about my story and about what happened, not many people know about my story. Only a few, like a handful of people. And if they do remember, or if I did tell them, they probably forgotten long ago. But when I would go to them for guidance or just to share my story, it would come off as accusatory. Why was I at that party? Why didn't I just go home? Are you sure about that? Are you making that up for attention? Those are all the questions that were told me, asked. And at that time, I had no idea how to answer them. And even to this day, I haven't really come out and shared my story, like, publicly. So right now, I'm like a bag of nerves. But because of that experience, it shaped me to who I am today. And I'm grateful. Because of that experience, I've become the woman who I am, with a lot of healing and a lot of therapy and a lot of guidance from a support system, which leads me to number 2, support survivors. Offer practical support, such as accompanying them to medical appointments or to court proceedings. Provide emotional support by being present, listening, and validating their feelings. It's very important to validate their feelings and validate their concerns because this is a sensitive topic. And I did not have the validation at that time. And not that many people know, but now they're going to know because my story needs to be heard so that I can help somebody else. And also, the next thing is to educate yourself. Learn about the dynamics of sexual assault, the importance of consent, and the resources available to survivors. There's a lot of resources out there now that weren't here back in the day. And it's important for the survivors, the overcomers, to get their story out and get the resources if they have not gotten the help that they should get. Because some of them go like this because their mouths are being closed and they can't share their story. And I wasn't able to share my story because of all of that. And I had to live almost 20 years with that. But I'm no longer ashamed of that because that has not defined me, and that is something that I am proud of who I am. I have an amazing husband, I have an amazing support system, and those people are dear to my heart. The next thing we need to do is advocate for change. Support policies and legislation that promote healthy relationships, consent, and accountability. Engage in conversations that challenge harmful attitudes and behaviors. We need to start being that change. We need to start advocating for that change. And we need to be able to speak up and say no more and not cover our mouth because we need to be heard. And the last thing is to pray and act. Pray for the survivors, the perpetrators, even with them as well, which is a hard thing to say, right? I have forgiven both of them. Yes, 2. But it's no longer that hurt inside. I'm just emotional because I waited too long to share my story because of fear, but fear is not going to hold me back anymore. And act by volunteering with organizations that support survivors, participating in awareness campaigns, and advocating for the system to change, right? We need to be the advocates. We need to be that voice for the voices. We need to be that support system for people that need to be heard. Because then when they lost their voice, and we need to advocate for those things to be changed, right? That stuff should not be happening to people. It should not. But it is happening. And we tend to just cover our eyes, cover our ears, and cover our mouth. And not do what we're supposed to be doing as Christians. So, in conclusion, breaking the silence around sexual assault requires courage, compassion, and collective action. As people of faith, we are called, and not just people of faith, but in general, we are called to be agents of justice, mercy, and love. Let us work together to create a society that values and respects the dignity of all individuals, every single body. And I'm not just saying women, because it's men as well. We need to value and respect the dignity of everybody who shares or comes to you, right? So some additional resources that can be offered, right, is the National Sexual Assault Hotline. There's online chat services. There's 1-800-656-HOPE. There's local resources, getting in tune with some local resources that are in your community, or even just going online and looking up some local resources and support groups like RAIN. and the National Alliance to End Sexual Violence, right? And these are just some resources, but they're specific to the United States. But if you're outside the United States, I would search for local resources in your area, right? So I just wanted to encourage you guys, women, men, children, whoever, speak up. Your voice matters. Your voice needs to be heard. And you are loved. And that should not have mattered. That should not have happened to you. But you are an overcomer and you will get through this. Just like I have, you will get through this. Thank you.